The beating heart of New Mexico lies cradled between monumental earth-toned structures that seem to grow organically from the sweeping valley floor. This is Taos Pueblo. Ancient beyond belief. Over 1,000 years of human life within these storied walls where time-honored traditions still guide daily existence. It remains the oldest continuously inhabited place in North America. How does a living relic like this withstand the relentless pull of modernity for over 10 centuries? This community persists as a thriving link to how ancestors lived while other native cultures faded to mere artifacts and empty ruins. What secret alchemy allows Taos Pueblo to assimilate just enough outside influence to accommodate evolving needs without surrendering its cultural core? One must only behold the scale and age-smoothed contours of these giant structures fused with the valley's palette of ochre, umber, and sienna to know this place protects powerful magic. The very rhythm of manifested permanence feels laced into soil and sinew here. Imagine stepping across the threshold into candlelit rooms that hosted countless generations, embodied by handprints layered into earthen walls. How has the enduring spirit of Taos Pueblo managed to nurture cultural continuity across hostile epochs of tremendous upheaval over 1,000 years, while eluding the ravages of time that lay other civilizations to waste? These stories and secrets remain alive behind ancient barricades. Each sun-washed wall appears to have absorbed sustaining essence from the land itself, radiating cultural memory. The people thrive in continuity. Come, understand this extraordinary place outside of time. Taos Pueblo's endurance stems from the strong roots embedded in its very foundation. Roots comprised of tradition, resilience, and community. Its walls have borne witness to the sweep of history while safeguarding cultural treasures. Its inhabitants live and breathe age-old customs as they forge ahead into the future. To truly understand the essence of Taos Pueblo, one must trace the rise and fall of its storied walls across generations. Every hand-packed layer of clay, straw, and earth grants a glimpse into an extraordinary culture carved through time. When the first structures sprouted from the valley floor over 1,000 years ago, they were simple pit houses, much like their ancient Puebloan predecessors. But as skilled hands molded the clay-based adobe that would become their trademark architectural style, the Pueblo took shape over the centuries. Every generation left its mark through additional stories, rooms, and dwellings clustered together like the branches of an enormous tree. Today, these impressive multi-storied complexes stand between 2 and 5 stories tall. Their clever construction rivals modern buildings for stability and temperature control. The thick walls absorb heat in the blistering New Mexico sun and radiate warmth into home interiors once temperatures plunge. Inside darkened rooms, threads of sunlight filtration reveal the subtle marks of those who came before. Handprints of men testing the stability of drying adobe, flecks of ancient paint, the smooth sheen from centuries of use. While the Pueblo structures themselves are a marvel, they would be meaningless without the culture and traditions they protect. The rhythm of Puebloan life owes much to the landscape itself. The cycles of seasons dictate daily activities, from the sowing of corn, beans, and squash in spring, to the harvest and preservation to sustain through winter. The hands that shape artwork and crafts draw inspiration from the plants and animals of their habitat. The annual rituals and dances celebrate nature's gift and pay homage to the ancestral powers that guide their fate. The buffalo dance, for instance, recalls the joy of successful buffalo hunts through costumes and song. The Matashin dance makes offerings to bring rain for crops. Many ceremonies follow the solstices and equinoxes with the turning of the seasons. Even Catholic influences adopted after Spanish contact were blended with native symbolism to create practices still carried out today. Yet traditional life also makes room for modernity's conveniences. Pickup trucks often join horses along the dusty lanes. Contemporary art hangs beside ancient pottery and crafts. The community thrives by allowing the old and new to intermingle at its own pace. But how does this ancient community manage to stay culturally vibrant when so many indigenous groups have succumbed to modern dominance? Why does Taos Pueblo still stand when others have gone the way of ruins and artifacts? The answers lie in the Pueblo's powerful sense of belonging and identity. Unlike settlers who view the land as a commodity, the Pueblo people are rooted in place through an almost familial bond. Their stories embed them directly into the natural landscape, while ancestors link them through time to origins beyond memory. Protecting this continuity becomes paramount. By sheltering inside fortress-like complexes, they shield vulnerable rituals and customs from destructive outside influences. Painting and crafting practices pass knowledge and meaning to new generations. Songs, dances, and oral stories reinforce connection across time. There are perils with this isolationist approach, from squelching dissent to complicating progress. But the trade-offs have allowed Taos Pueblo to braid together precious remnants of culture and lifeway that might have otherwise unraveled. The results weave a rich cultural tapestry that both reinforces tribal identity and draws admiration worldwide. In 1992, the living heritage evidenced at Taos Pueblo was honored as a UNESCO World Heritage Site based on both cultural and architectural significance. It became the first tribal community in the United States bestowed with this distinction. To visit today is to step into another world, one moving to the rhythms of ancient cycles, yet pulsing with artistic vibrance. It welcomes respectful visitors curious for a glimpse of enduring culture. The guided tours deliver on this promise by allowing outsiders temporary access into private domains. Guests can survey the tawny complexes they've admired from afar up close and traverse lanes predating Columbus by centuries. Inside dark rooms, they gain insight into Puebloan living, from grinding stones for meal to horns announcing ceremony. But the visits also come on local terms with strict rules. Guests must keep voices low. Photography, sketching, and note-taking are typically prohibited out of sensitivity to rituals and customs that remain private from public eyes. Visitors remain silent observers rather than direct participants. The boundaries between outsider and Puebloan remain despite tourism's financial incentives. But locals aim to share as much as regulations permit to spread appreciation for keeping heritage alive. The tours and museums strive to build bridges cross-culturally to best preserve understanding on both sides of the gates. Because while visitors come and go, the Taos people persist through history's currents, both strengthening their continuity and sharing their teachings. This Pueblo remains the keepers of a rare surviving lifeway still vibrant after a millennium of winds bringing change. What began as pit houses clustered along a sparkling stream evolved over generations into a towering World Heritage complex without losing its cultural core. The Taos people stand, 1,000 years enduring, weaving old and new into a flexible barrier, able to withstand outside pressure while nourishing interior treasures. A timeless tapestry feeding the roots that run too deep to fail. One cannot help feeling the weight of history and promise of a future where paths forward continue guided by ancient wisdom, invitation, and resilience built across the depths of time.